happening or something good is already happening. So we want to see what are we going to be expecting? Because some people keep saying, yes, you people are just jubilating for jubilation's sake, that it will never happen for for the current president, to step down for Peter Obi. But we are happy that Peter Obi chose to go through the court, and he said he believes in the judiciary. That has kept us going. And like we all know, somebody from Sierra Leone said something recently. He was citing Mr. Peter Obi, using him as an example, telling others that leadership is all about being an example. So people should emulate Mr. Peter Obi, who, even when he was declared to have lost the election, decided to take the legal path. And we can see that Nigeria has peace. There's this calmness everywhere. If Mr. Peter Obi had decided to go the other way around, we know what would have been happening in the nation today. But he decided to follow, the court process. And we can see that things are really working out well for him. Honestly, our politicians will have to learn. Even we, the ordinary citizen, we've got a lot to learn. Personally, I've learned so much, I've learned so much as a result of all these developments since after the election. So today, we want to allow Dr. Tebe to take us more and tell us what we should be expecting. There were so many dramas yesterday at the election tribunal when the other respondents closed their case, where it's supposed to have all these things to play out for like 3 weeks. But suddenly they all ended, was it 2 or 3 days? It was not even up to a week, So we want to see, can you just throw more light on what we should be expecting, and how is Mr. Peter Obi's journey going to look like, as we are hoping that in no distant time, our mandate will be given back to us.
Well, viewers, good day once again. I don't know where you are listening in from. It's night here in the UK. And Gloria, is that Gloria, am I right?
Yes, Gloria.
Gloria, good to see you. I hope you're going to have a wonderful time today. Yesterday, I don't know, you remember we did made a promise. And I think it is good for us to clean up that promise, which is also part of the journey. And the promise was people who were asking questions that in the court yesterday, there was the issue of submitting documents that tends to portray Peter Obi as not being a member of Labour Party at the time Labour Party had submitted the register. And some people say that they were concerned about that. Well, I know that there was a video clip that came out yesterday where the council...
Please, sorry, just for the purpose of those who will be watching us, you are trying to explain if what they are claiming that Peter Obi was not a member of the Labour Party at a certain time, and if that will affect Mr. Peter Obi's chances. That's what you are trying to explain to us, just for our viewers to understand what the points you are taking on.
Exactly. And as I've always tried to position my argument, it's all about 2 documents. This whole thing is anchored on 2 documents. What is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution saying, and what is the Electoral Act 2022 saying? I don't want to join in any other kind of argument as long as I'm referring to this document. That's my reference book. And in the section 77 of the Electoral Act, subsection 1, it says a political party register under this act shall be a body corporate. A political party registered under this act shall be a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal, and may sue and be sued in its corporate name. Subsection 2. Every registered political party shall maintain a register of its members in both hard and soft copy. Subsection 3 of section 77. Each political party shall make such register available to the commission not later than 30 days before the date fixed for the party primaries, congress, or convention. Now, people were saying, okay, But they had finished by the time the Labour Party had their primaries, the Labour Party had submitted their list. And then APC and the respondent yesterday were saying that his name was still in the register of PDP by the time he became the flag bearer. We all know in the whole of the world, not even in Nigeria, the day Peter Obi left Labour and PDP, the letter was public. He wrote, it was all over the internet. If PDP decide not to expunge his name out of their register, that's their business. If they want to retain it till today, he has already written them and say, I am no longer interested. I am no longer. And he did it as a responsible man. And that was when one song came out. I remember, let me remember that song. There was a song that says, wherever, follow me, they go, Peter, was it something like that? That song came out more like, wherever he goes, we are following him.
We'll follow him, yeah.
And people were saying, oh, will it be ANPP? Oh, will it be this? Oh, will it be that? Until eventually we heard of Labour Party. Then he went to Asaba where they did their primaries. Forgotten the name of that, Professor Patu Tomi stepped down for him. And even though he stepped down for him, they still voted as stated in the law. All right? There was still a vote. And there was more or less unopposed based on the count of the vote. But the question is, but by the time they submitted the register, was his name there? The answer is no, because they had submitted the register before the primaries. However, the spirit and the letter of the law is always interpreted together. What was the need for the register of members to be submitted to INEC? If you go to section 30 of the same Electoral Act, you will see the reason there. And I'm just going to read that to our hearing now, if you don't mind. You got section 30 says, I was saying it yesterday and somebody said I should quote that section, and that's what I am doing now. If you come to section 30 of the Electoral Act, just give me a second. I'm trying to toggle through many things. It says here, section 30, subsection 1 says, a candidate for an election shall be nominated in writing by such numbers of persons whose names appear on the register of voters in the constituency as the commission may prescribe. Okay. Subsection 2 says, a person shall not nominate more than one person for an election to the same office. Of course, we know how that became a challenge, and they keep going. Now, the essence of the submission of the register of members is to make sure that people will not just burst themselves into the hall where primaries election is being held and begin to, because a politician could just hire members. They wanted to make sure that the people who participate in electing a representative are members of that political party who had been at least members up to 30 days before the primaries in itself. Now, the political party can on their own decide to pick any human being, provided that the person does not violate the section of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on how someone can be qualified to be a president or governor, as the case may be in Nigeria. By that, I mean, if you're qualified, if you're not a dual citizen, if you do not have a criminal record and all those things, the party could say, we like this person. And if the majority of the people in the party, through their vote, say, we like you and we elect you to go and represent us, that is their internal party politics. And that was why I think a body, a political party, went to court to challenge that. And the court trashed it at the High Court. You heard the counsel to Labour Party saying it yesterday. And they got to appeal court trashed it again. The counsel to Labour Party, they call it judgment in realm, meaning appeal court is appeal court. They are courts of coordinate jurisdiction. They have told you in that day, they are sitting that day, what they would tell you, because appeal court cannot cancel itself. So it is absolutely, that issue is a non-issue, to be honest. It's not even anything anybody should worry themselves about. We should just move on. It's not an issue at all. All right? Okay, so that's number one. Number two, where is Gloria? Did we miss her? Did we lose her?
Yeah, possibly she's having issues with her connection.
Okay. Then, secondly, another thing is, whenever a law is made, the penalty for defaulting in that law is always attached. Do you understand? What the penalty that is attached to not submitting the register is a fine. It's a fine. It didn't even say that if they did. Let me read it. Let me read section 78 of the Electoral Act. Section 78 says, and I read, any political party or association which contravenes the provisions of section, it's section 7 and section 227 of the Constitution. Forgive me. All right, but like they said, there is no penalty that is attached to this. You've heard it that when it comes to election, if Beavers breaks down, if it did not function and a new one is brought and it's not there, that place, the vote in that place should be cancelled. If the votes, if the number of votes cast in that place will be substantial enough to affect the outcome, then there will be new election. But if it will not be substantial to affect the outcome, the whole polling unit will be forgotten. You see the issue and the remedy. When there is a dispute, this is what the polling unit, the collation officer shall do. The law always provides such a thing. All right. So I want us to know that there is no issue about this thing. So let's move on with that. The next thing we need to talk about now is when you say, what is the way forward? I think I need to first and foremost explain to us that what happened yesterday was good for all the obedient. However, the real work has just begun for the councils.
Okay.
Because what happened in the court for 3 weeks in the case of Labour Party, and for 2 days in the case of APC, their candidate, and INEC, it's for 2 days. They only use one day. They wasted Monday, and then they did Tuesday and Wednesday.
One day and one witness.
Yes. Let me explain it this way. What we have seen before, all those evidence that Labour Party were bringing into court, were like someone who wants to build a house. Say, I can build a good house. So they were dumping gravel, they dumped sand, they dumped water, they dumped the rods, they dumped everything. And the engineer is wearing his helmet and say, allow me to go and build now. And I'm going to produce for you a good house. All those witnesses they brought could be more like testimonies of people who have seen where they built house before. So why I'm saying this is for the layman to understand that the real work begins now. Because this is when they're going to begin to go and write what, if it is a research, you say you're writing your thesis. It's when you begin to gather everything, quoting the Constitution, relating the Constitution with the Electoral Act, relating the Constitution, the Electoral Act, the evidence, the testimony, the counter evidence, everything, building them into a beautiful piece of thesis that when the judges read it, they can say, oh yes, I agree with this, I agree with that, I agree with this. Do you understand?
Okay.
Now, we, the petitioners, the Labour Party being the petitioner, stands some kind of advantage because the respondents will first of all write their own address within 10 days, counting from yesterday. They have 9 days now left. And when they are done, Labour Party will have access to it. and then write their own within, I think, 7 days. They are given. And then when they are done, it's like they're going to write the last one. All of them will write the last one and bring it at the same time. And that is what is called the final adoption. That is now the piece the judges will take. The judges will read those things, compare it with their own notes that they made during the hearings, and what they observed during the arguments and what have you, and draw up their judgments. So the question we need to ask now is, do you think that Labour Party brought good enough raw materials to be able to cook this meal? That's where I think yes. I definitely think yes, because if you watch their cross-examinations, whenever they cross-examined, even these two people they cross-examined, and even all the evidence they brought into court, you see the sections of the law where it is referring to. And when they're going to build their argument, they will make emphatic reference to those sections of the law. Okay, I don't know if there's anything you want to say before I continue.
Yeah, you can continue. It's very clear and interesting too.
Yes. Like I said yesterday, and for some people who have not been privileged to be here to listen to this thing. Now, when they want to build a case to establish that INEC did not comply with the electoral law, that the abuse Nigerians witnessed was substantial enough, they are going to build their case and anchor it on Section 47 of the Electoral Act, Section 60 of the Electoral Act, and Section 64. Now, Section 47 of the Electoral Act deals with accreditation of voters. Before now, we don't know what is in the list of the people that is registered in a polling unit. Politicians could carry their thugs from one local government to another local government, and they come and scatter the whole thing and become the voters. But the beavers machine is supposed to do what? Determine who is qualified to vote in that polling unit, because their data had already been preloaded in that place. In fact, even the so-called voters card, the permanent voters card they say you should bring to the polling unit, was not necessary, because your fingerprint or your face recognition is what the beavers would do. This, your card is practically immaterial. But I think they asked you to bring that. They asked voters to bring the card, so as just to limit the number of crowd that will come there, so they don't waste more time trying to do face recognition and fingerprint. Before even they take your finger off your face or your face, they would have seen the card. But the card, aside from these two things, is immaterial.
Okay.
And then Section 60 is talking about the process of the election, where it stipulates that, number one, there has to be the election. People will vote after the accreditation. The vote will be counted publicly. After the vote was counted publicly, the party agents, if they are available, so it is not a must, will come and sign. After the signing, a copy will be given to the party agents and given to the police. And then they will use the beavers machine to snap the result and upload it to the IREV. And then the police and the polling unit officer, the polling unit officer, the presiding officer, and the agents, if they're available, will now go to the collation center. The collation center is where all the polling is like nodes. All the polling units will now come to that place. The result of the polling unit, which was entered in Form EC8A, they will gather to that place. They will now say, okay, in this ward, we have 20 polling units. Let's begin to add them. So if for any reason in the process of adding, a political party says, no, this is not the result we have, the law says that the collation officer must stop and first of all, resolve that problem. And how he will resolve that problem is found in section 64. Meaning he has to first of all have that beavers that did accreditation. He has to have the physical copy of the result that is in contention. He has to make reference to the data on the beavers that has been transmitted from the polling unit as specified both in section 60 and in section 47. So the collation officer needs 4 items to be able to resolve the case. In fact, the INEC deputy director in charge of ICT granted an interview to some media house in Nigeria before the election, where I wish we had that video to play it here.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Okay, keep trying to load. If it comes on, I will stop talking.
Okay.
So now the question, during the writing up of this address, okay.
No, it's not even this one.
It's not this one. It's not this one.
Yeah, is it this one?
All right.
Yes.
So now concerning these beavers, we've already seen some demonstration going on there in terms of the queue, what people would expect, and the results, the IREF. Maybe we should talk a little bit about that IREF and the results. What do we expect? Because I think, I'm not sure if, wait, maybe we should go this way. Now, are people still going to be able to view those results as they uploaded on IREF and so?
Yes, of course, it's real time. From the polling unit is straight to the IREF. And if there are any issue, and by the time the presenter gets to the collation center, it tenders the papers to the collation officer. It tenders the hard copy of that result to the collation officer. The collation officer is looking at the physical result and the one that was already transmitted to the IREF. Just oppose these two and see if there's any discrepancy, checking whether what is seen on the IREF is the same thing that is before him physically. So if everything is well, then the collation officer go ahead to enter into his own form at that level, the form EC8B at that level.
And that form will also still be displayed?
No, we are not transmitting that form. We are only transmitting form EC8A.
Yeah, that EC8A.
Yes.
Much as they will snap it and upload it,
yeah,
they will still display it as required, isn't it?
Yes, it will still be displayed at the polling unit. That's the form 60E at the polling unit. It will be displayed there, but the result itself will be taken to the collation officer and the beavers. The collation officer checks the accredited data, checks the form from EC80, that's the result sheet, and also check the one on the portal to see if there are any discrepancy, whether they are the same.
If there is any discrepancy, which
Okay. Can you hear me now, please?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
It's okay. We can take up the video. The person, I don't know if the person sitting by the side of this ICT man is Festus Okoye. It looks like Festus Okoye. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like him, but I don't think he's the one.
Okay, but this guy is a deputy director in charge of ICT, and he was the person that the only witness that INEC brought. And when he was asked by INEC if collation can be done without IREF copy, he said yes. But we heard him now say that it is not possible because he was talking about a comparison of something, and the essence of the uploading to the IREF is to make sure that if anything happens between the polling unit and the collation center, they have already sent. It's like sending someone a code. You know, you could come to somewhere, a code had been given to you, and when you get to the gate, they'll ask you, what is your code? If you don't provide that code, it can be a color, it can say ABC. The moment you say ABC, okay, they will say, okay, this person is coming from Mr. John. So the one sent to the IRF is a proof. Any other thing that comes out that does not correspond to what is on the IRF will be null and void. And here is where it is written in section 64, subsection 6 of the Electoral Act. It says, where during collation of result there is a dispute regarding a collated result or the result of an election from any polling unit, the collation officer or returning officer shall, whenever the law says shall, means must, shall use the following to determine the correctness of the dispute. Number one, number A, that is 64.6a, says the original of the disputed collated result from each polling unit where the election is disputed. The smart card reader. So these are the two physical documents. The result, the smart card reader. Number 3, the data of accreditation according to section 47. And then number 4, the votes that have been uploaded on IREF. So the question, and which I know that the Labour Party is going to put in their reply, in their address, is, was there not disputes at collation centers? To the extent that the dispute was a national issue. And President Obasanjo was even writing, people were already killing people in other states because of the dispute. And thirdly, even if there was no dispute, so to say, there was nothing on IREF. EU Commission showed that by the time the result was declared, substantial percentage of the result had not been uploaded. A party man, the PDP man like Dino Melai, was at the collation center telling the chairman, what are you doing? The law says we should reconcile before you continue. So that is a point. And based on what we have seen, based on this law, and based on this guy's statement today in this video clip we played, I think I can now tick good that Labour Party has a very beautiful chance in edging INEC. That is one. You move down again. We stay away from INEC. We come down to the Constitution, the issue of double nomination. That you're going to find in section 35 of the Electoral Act. Section 35 of the Electoral Act, forgive me, I'm flipping through this. I mean, because it's not as if I don't know what it's saying, but I just want to read it verbatim so that we can all hear it now. It says, where a candidate knowingly allow himself to be nominated by more than one political party or in more than one constituency, his nomination shall be void. And if you keep reading forward, you'll hear that a political party, a candidate who wants to, a candidate who wants to change, it says, the commission, a candidate may withdraw, that's section 31 of the Electoral Act, a candidate may withdraw his or her candidature by notice in writing, signed by him and delivered personally by the candidate to the political party that nominated him for the election, and the political party shall convey such withdrawal to the commission not later than 90 days to the election. So the question is, did Shettima engage in double nomination? To be nominated for two political parties means you are coming for a PDP and you're coming for APC, as the case may be. To be nominated, like it happened with Uche Nwosu in Imo State during the 2019 election. And Supreme Court slammed him for that. But this one, Shettima was not coming from two political parties. He's coming from two constituencies. Constituency number one, according to the certified true copy of the form released by INEC, shows that as at the day his party submitted his application as the vice presidential candidate, his name was still on the register as the senator to represent Borno Central Senatorial District. And that name remained concurrently in the database of INEC for vice president and for senator until the next day, before they went and withdrew the one of Senate. That is more or less putting the cart ahead of the horse. What they would have done would have been first withdraw the other one and replace it. But there was this case that PDP took to court, which the court slammed them for lack of jurisdiction, for lack of locus standi. But then one Supreme Court justice made mention of the fact that he had written his political party. But one of the videos played by the Labour Party in court was where their presidential candidate went to Katsina to visit then President Buhari and told the press there that that his vice presidential candidate to be didn't even know that he has been nominated, and that he had just told the president, but because the press is there, that he's announcing it. And the date he made that statement was after the so-called date the vice presidential candidate said that he wrote his party. So the argument here is INEC colluding with APC to write a letter and submit ahead of time when, for instance, I am saying to you now that I have a special package for you. And that special package is probably a new car because you have done us well as an obedient follower. And you are trying to tell the world that you sold your old car day before yesterday because you got a gift of a new car. How? Because the new car was announced today. How could it be day before yesterday?
Yeah.
That's point number one. Point number two is again, is it the business of other contestants if the party becomes sluggish and decided to come and make mistake during the process of withdrawal and submission? Because the certified true copy that INEC gave showed that by the time INEC closed work on a certain day in July 2022, I think it was on the 14th, can't remember precisely, that in the database of INEC, there were two documents. One for presidential and one for Senate, and one person's name were in those two documents. But on the 15th, that was when one person's listing, when the Senate was withdrawn. So I believe that this argument too is going to be a very hot one, because I believe the so-called Supreme Court judge will see this fresh argument and maybe he will understand, because he actually didn't give judgment. He says a matter of policy. All right.
Yeah.
So that is another point.
So meaning that at a certain time, Shettima was nominated for two different positions.
Yes.
So even if that happened just within 24 hours is enough to disqualify him.
Okay, this is how you will know. If the law says that, you remember that the day Labour Party submitted their petition was the very last day. If they had submitted it 6 hours after that very last day, the court will throw it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the rule.
Okay.
When you were buying JAMB form, if the JAMB says close of submission of your application is today or WAEC, do you say, oh, I was sleeping or I was sick, that's why I want to come the next day? Would they listen to you?
Never.
That is it. That's the rule. The rule is the rule.
Yes.
And justice deals with rules. So I don't know, time is flying really, but I don't know if we are making sense here today.
Yes, I equally wanted to throw more light on this forfeiture as regards to the narcotic trafficking. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I wish I had come. In 2014, there was a case between Mohamed Abacha, the son of the late President Abacha, and the federal government. Funny enough, the person who read the judgment was the current Chief Justice of the Federation. And he said that a forfeiture is actually a price you pay for the offense you committed. So the issue is, the forfeiture in America, can it affect us here in UK, in Nigeria? I don't want, because of time, I quoted all the sections of the law yesterday, which was section 137 of the Electoral Act, especially 137 subsection 1E is talking about any court in Nigeria. But APC is trying to say, one, that it's not a federal, that is a civil forfeiture. I don't know when money laundering becomes a civil forfeiture, because their witness admitted yesterday that it is related to money laundering. So it is now left for APC to prove to the world that money laundering is now a civil case in the US. I don't know much about that, but I do believe that things like money laundering is a federal crime.
Okay.
All right. And if it is a federal crime, and that was a court, the forfeiture there is more like, okay, if we followed in the queue of what our Supreme Court has said, that you're forfeiting something because of a crime you committed. It's a price you pay for a crime. And then they are saying, oh, but even at that, it's past 10 years. They are referring to subsection 137, subsection 1D. And that's section 137 of the 1999 Constitution, subsection 1D, is talking about maybe Code of Conduct Tribunal found you guilty, and they say, okay, you abuse your public office, and because of that, the penalty is that you cannot hold another public office until after 10 years, but not any other crime. It is important that people go and read in section 137 of the Constitution, subsection 1. It actually has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. It has 10 different things that if any one of them catches you, you're gone.
Okay. And
in that same place, the J is on submitting forged documents. And the Supreme Court and the Nigerian Appeal Court, in the case of, is it Ngololo? I've forgotten, but it's one just in this concluded 2019 election, APC versus ANPP in Bauchi State. They found out and they read in that place saying forgery means altering existing documents or creating an entirely new one. Meaning, if my name is E-T-H-E-L and mistakenly it is written E-I-H by the university, And I know that if I tender it to a body, that they will say, that is not my name, that my name is supposed to be T. And then I went and corrected the I and make it T. I have forged the document. So the argument here is that Labour Party is saying that the copy of the certificate the candidate of APC submitted to INEC, which INEC certified, is not a copy of the certificate that is on the record of the university. So what it means is that if this person indeed attended the university, graduated from the university, no problem. The problem is that the certificate he tendered is not a certified true copy of the original. You know how your WAEC certificate looks or your NYSC certificate looks. The original is supposed to be with you. The photocopy is with the school. Certified true copy means a photocopy of that copy. Photocopy of that copy. So it might be that nobody is in doubt if it might be that people are not even doubting whether somebody attended the university or not, but they are doubting that the copy you gave is not photocopy of the certificate issued by that institution. So if they said in court yesterday that they have gone to school to get a copy to prove that the person attended, they have not answered the question whether even if he attended, the one he submitted to INEC, was it given by the university?
By the school.
That is another point that is under consideration there. And that is a case of, I think, PDP anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So
as regards to the 25% for the FCT, please talk a little bit more.
I love that 25%. I choose not to go to that section where they're saying 2/3 of the 24th in 2/3 in 24 states and FCT, because it's simple. I usually like to explain it by taking us to the 1999 Constitution, Section 2, subsection 1 and 2. And what did the Constitution say? That will explain to you the spirit of the law that summarizes everything. In that place, it's talking about this country called Nigeria. What is even this country called Nigeria? What is Nigeria? Oh, sorry, I'm still opening the Electoral Act instead of 1999 Constitution. I don't know, like you said, I've read these documents back and forth lately, but I so much love them. Do you understand? And it's all thanks to Peter Obi. He has woken us up. At least let's read this document. Let's know what they are using to govern us. I love it. I just love it. I know these things, but I'm trying to read it now just for the hearing of people. So let me read. They say Part 1, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 2 says, Nigeria is one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign state. 1, to be known by the name of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So look at Nigeria as a tree. A tree can have 100 branches. It can have 2 branches. But this tree, you're going to understand the structure. So number 1 is the name, the sovereignty of Nigeria. Number 2, that is subsection 2 says, Nigeria shall be a federation consisting of states on one hand and a federal capital territory. So when you mention Nigeria and you say Nigeria is made up of 36 states, that's not Nigeria. Nigeria is made up of 36 states and the federal capital territory. It's not just, it's our own fountain of unity. Now, as I explained, I think in this program the other day, so look at Nigeria like my 5 fingers. You see how this one is standing away and these 4 are together. Nigeria is like that. If you climb this root, which is the stem of the tree, you're going to meet 2 branches. One is the federal capital territory. The other are the 36 states. And because this place is now the fountain, the melting point, the fountain of our unity, it's more or less, even though there are the indigenous people that owns this place. However, this place has become where everybody gravitates. That's why we have our National Assembly there. It's now our capital territory. All of us have a share here. And it's saying that, just like in research, when you grab the federal capital territory, you've gotten a sample of what Nigeria is made of. So the spirit of this law means that Abuja is like our mini Nigeria. And so when the law says you must win the majority of the votes, one, and win 25%, is trying to say spread, so that one corner don't just make you president. You must win the majority of the vote and the spread of at least 25% in the 2/3 of the country, the 2/3 of the states. He didn't say 2/3 of the country. He said 2/3 of the states and the federal capital.
FCT.
Meaning, if you grab the majority of votes and grab minimum of 25%, you also need to come and show that that Nigeria that is represented in Abuja, that at least if you can't win it, you have 25% there. I would be surprised if the Supreme Court goes against this, to be honest. But if they do, they have technically by policy. Supreme Court is a court of both constitution interpretation and policy making, because if they bring in a new thing, it becomes a precedent. It becomes part and parcel of us. But no president has ever won the seat of presidency in Nigeria without winning Abuja. Babangida, Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, President Yaradua, President Buhari, all of them won at least 25% in Abuja. So that is the summary of the argument, as simple as short. Now, what's probably, because we're going to, I feel like rounding it up, what we are going to discuss maybe the next time is the implications of each outcome. If they disqualify based on forfeiture, what happens? Will that make Peter Obi president? If they disqualify maybe because of double nomination, what happens? Where is PDP in this equation? If they say, okay, we uphold Abuja that every president must have 25%, what happens? You know, Nigerian constitution has provision for at least 3 elections before a president may be declared. It has provision for it and people don't know. It's not runoff, it's a new election, the second election and the third election. 3 elections. So if we are to go to the pool again, which parties will be there? Will it be PDP and Labour Party? Will it be APC and PDP? Or will it be all the 3 parties? I think that's one thing we need to discuss again so that Nigerians will understand even what we're preparing for. Because we'll be going for an election again. And some people may be disqualified from coming back. If any of the prayers that borders on double nomination or forfeiture or certificate or dual nationality is upheld, then APC won't be in whatever equation that is happening. But if that happens, could that make Peter Obi president? It's possible, because if they now go to deal with the mess of INEC, we could actually see that he won the president and he becomes. But what if the INEC mess is left and that is upheld? So there's a disqualification. And if that disqualification happens, the next person that scores the majority of the votes is PDP. Will PDP just become the presidency, the party that won? No is the answer. All these things, the technicality is what I think that we could delve into the next time when we meet, so that Nigerians are educated.
Before we summarize, let me just play the clip of Mr. Peter Obi's legal team.
Yeah, that's good. I hope you don't mind if I sip my coffee.
It's never a problem. So let's see how he reacted after today.
I would say. To go into writing of addresses. Well, you must have, I'm sure that you know that INEC called one witness, closed their case. Second and third respondents called one, closed their case. APC had no courage to call any, and they closed their case. The witness for the second and third, the only thing I can say, I encourage you people, look for his deposition, place it side by side with the cross-examination. You make up your minds and find out whether the two of them are consistent. I don't want to go further into that. You can do the investigation. So I can tell you that we are happy the way and manner the hearing ended. We are very ready to react to the addresses of the respondents, which they must file in the next 10 days from today. Thereafter, we will file our reply. Thank you. God bless you all.
Yeah, that was the Labour Party lead council. We are happy the way it ended.
Yes.
So, obedience. We are fighting a good fight. And we are already seeing signs that it will end up well. So, Mr. Tebert, over to you.
Well, I'm happy the way the Labour Party Council also concluded the statement there. Good so far. But as I said, these things we are discussing now are the case they are building. You can see that I try to raise each issues there. And I think Labour Party has a very strong argument to present. That's number one. If we come back next time, if God permits us to have another meeting, we will be dealing what are the consequences, the implications of each outcome, because there are variable outcomes we expected from the prayers. They were asking for.
Okay, I think it's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. So, what are the probable outcomes from these outcomes, from this their complaints, as it were? Because it could result in an entire. To be honest, if we are to tell ourselves the truth, the presidential election was a sham. It can actually result in a total cancellation.
Oh my God.
Yes, but if cancellation goes, will everybody still be qualified? That's why if you go to our previous discussions, you see where I tried to mention why some people may not be qualified. And that is dependent on how the judges rule with respect to double nomination, forgery, forfeiture, dual citizenship, and what have you. So that is it. And then finally on the FCT too, what could happen if everything were to be left the way it is and only FCT is upheld, which parties are going back to the pool? Because it's going to be only two parties. So we take time to look at what the law says about the outcomes so that we're not just being emotional. We'll see the letters of the law and then use it to draw our conclusion.
Yes. I have a yes,
Okay,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Doctor. It has actually been an enlightening moment for me, though I've been going out and off because of poor network here. I have a
Yes, sir.
question concerning the whole tribunal and the hearing, and
Okay.
it's actually targeted towards Peter Obi's faith. From what you said that we should just, the next time we'll discuss the whole outcome. But from your own perspective, do you feel that this whole hearing and then the whole tribunal and the whole thing that has actually happened in court, from the witnesses and then Peter Obi's own petition, do you feel that it's actually going to let me just say it's going to favor Peter Obi? Do you feel that the court is actually going to do it in a way that is going to favor Peter Obi at the end of the day?
I kind of feel so. I am very, very optimistic. You know why? The previous electoral laws happen to be more confusing than this one. This one is I'm not saying that this one is perfect,
Yeah, it's
but
not
this
as if
one
it's
is
perfect.
perfect. But this is better. You could say, as I
Yes.
just said, Section 47, this is what it says. Section 60, this is what it says. Section 64, this is what it. Did you do it? The answer is no. So if you didn't do it, this is what the law says should happen if you didn't do it. It's as simple as that. And then the other one, the FCT, is a pure constitutional issue. Supreme Court, tell us something. Are you now trying to say that as long as someone gets 25% spread across Nigeria, that FCT is immaterial? So that Nigerians will everybody in Nigeria will wake up and go to their villages during the election. Nobody will be there in FCT, because it's more like when it comes to presidential election, the FCT vote is useless. Do you get? And remember that the president is also supposed to act as a governor of FCT. So how can a governor not get at least 25% of the people he's governing? So, I mean, I am not the judge, I'm not in their mind, but even when you're going to court, based on the evidence you have, you can say, look, I am optimistic, very, very, very optimistic.
Yes,
and again, I keep saying it. If this thing goes in favor of P2B, the value of Nigeria and the international community is going to shoot up to a high level. They are just going to rate our judiciary as the best.
One of the best in the world.
I'm telling you, they're going to say, wow, this powerful country riddled with corruption. If the judges can be this mean, be careful when you deal with them. Those guys know what they're doing. It's the investors are going to flood Nigeria, because they're just going to feel like, look, the court will be the hope. There is a retired justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Ogebe, who I read online where he complained bitterly about the judgments of the Supreme Court, especially with respect to Senator Lawan. Excuse me. So, Lawan that did not participate in primaries and became a senator, and the retired justice of the Supreme Court lamented publicly to that effect. So that kind of a thing is reverberating. And I know that these judges, they have got to the pinnacle of their service. I want to believe that they will do, I keep saying, they will do justice to justice. They will do their family proud, themselves proud, and our nation proud.
Honestly.
The nation cannot be sacrificed on the altar of just pleasing one man. I believe, I am optimistic that something good will come. And I also, the person we are dealing with, P2B, has also shown the precedent that he can fight. Even when it was more foggy in 2003, he fought for 3 years. But you know this one, everything is going to close latest early December, late November. This whole thing about presidential election, tribunal and Supreme Court, every judgment would have been out. So things are more streamlined now. Yes, of course. Things are more streamlined. So that's my, I don't know where the judges will be. And remember, there are going to be 7 of them.
Yes.
It's going to be, is it 7 or 5? I don't know. But all I know is that it's going to be an odd number. So is that at the end of it all, you can't tell what is in the mind of all of them. What we are saying is, please, let the mind of the majority be in favor of what we are advocating for. And it's definitely going to end at the Supreme Court. It's definitely going to end there.
Yes.
So it's going to be 2 votes, the vote of the appeal court and the vote of the Supreme Court. But I am optimistic. And again, I keep saying, the only guy who has won an election petition under Electoral Act 2022 is one of the lead counsel to Labour Party, Onyechi Bazo. When I listened to San Okutepa, I'm like, there was a time I used to listen to San on the TV, and I'm like, oh, I wish this man could just join the Labour Party. The way he's helping to interpret this thing, he will make it. And then, boom, I saw him in their team. I'm like, whoa. And then this Uzoku SAN, he looks like somebody you can break, but such people are the toughest. Toughest. Sometimes they talk quietly, but when you read the writings of such people, their writing can be very, very, very firm, strong. So
wow.
I am optimistic.
Yes.
Is the answer.
We are really happy with the latest developments, and no doubt we'll soon be claiming or reclaiming our mandates that was stolen from us. A new Nigeria is possible. Dr. Tebet, I want to say a very big thank you to you for giving us your time. And Gloria, thank you too for joining. I know that your internet was like trying to stop you, but
where are you joining us from, by the way, Gloria? Where are you joining us from?
From Nigeria.
Oh, that's good. It's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Nice to have
All right.
you here.
Okay, people.
So thank you very much, our viewers. We hope you also tune in tomorrow. We'll be live again. So this is going to be like a daily program so that we'll get educated. It's really good that, we are in this journey. You can see that Nigerians have woken, and we just want a better Nigeria, a Nigeria we all can be proud of, like Mr. Peter Obi can always say. And we must do it, following the right way through the court process. That's what we are doing today. So thank you for joining us, and let's meet tomorrow again. God bless you all.
Thank you, people. All right. Good night.
Gloria, bye.
Bye. Good night.